Was this really just a simple mistake by the Forrester security team? Or is there something much deeper, much darker, lurking in the shadows of the design office? This is the question that should be haunting every bold and the beautiful fan as we head into the high-stakes drama of Monday, May 18th. The atmosphere at Forrester Creations is usually one of refined elegance and cutthroat fashion, but right now, it feels more like a house of cards waiting for a single gust of wind to blow it all down. We are looking at a collision course between domestic bliss, corporate coldness, and a security breach that is frankly embarrassing for a multi-million-dollar empire. On one hand, you have the heartwarming return of little HAYES, a moment of pure family connection for Steffy and Finn. But on the other, you have Charlie Weber, the man who is supposed to be the shield of this dynasty, wandering the halls on a hunt that might be too little, too late. It's a classic soap opera setup. Give the audience a taste of sweetness just so the coming shock tastes that much more bitter. Let's dive into the core of the drama, starting with the return of HAYES Finnegan. Seeing HAYES back on screen isn't just about a cute kid. It's a calculated move by the writers to anchor Steffy and Finn in their perfect reality. When we see them together, it reminds us of what's at stake. Why did the writers choose this specific moment to bring him back? Psychologically, it's about establishing the sanctuary of the home before the workplace is violated. Steffy is at her most vulnerable when she is in mom mode, and by placing her in a scene with HAYES and Finn, the narrative is heightening her emotional state before she receives a shock that will likely send her into warrior mode. I honestly think Finn and Steffy are being far too complacent. They are sitting there having a chat with their son while an intruder is literally roaming the halls of their family business. This is where the emotional insight comes in. Steffy feels a sense of ownership and safety at Forrester that is bordering on arrogance. She believes she has won. She's got the husband, the kid, and she's successfully blocked Brooke's power play. But that ego is exactly what's going to make this upcoming shock so much harder to swallow. It's not just a security breach. It's a breach of her personal sense of control. Speaking of control, let's talk about the Brooke Logan of it all. Brooke is sulking, and honestly, can we blame her? She walked in with a co-CEO proposal, likely expecting Ridge to fold like he usually does when it comes to her desires. Instead, she got a big fat no. Ridge rejecting Brooke is a massive shift in the power dynamic. Usually, Ridge tries to bridge the gap between Brooke and Steffy, but here he is firmly siding with his daughter. Ridge is trying to soften the blow by telling Brooke she can still make a difference. But that's just corporate speak for stay in your lane. From a psychological perspective, Brooke is experiencing a profound sense of displacement. She's not just losing a title, she's losing her influence over the man she loves. When Ridge agrees with Steffy about stalling hope for the future to focus on couture, he isn't just making a business decision. He's picking a side in the family war. This is Brooke's worst nightmare. She's watching the Forrester inner circle close its doors to her and her daughter Hope. My opinion, Brooke is going to reach a breaking point. She doesn't do background player well, and this rejection is going to trigger every insecurity she has about her place in the family. Now let's get to the most frustrating part of this entire update, Charlie Weber. How is this man still the head of security? The sources are very clear. Charlie isn't exactly the greatest head of security in the world, and that is the understatement of the century. We have Remy Price, who, let's be real, is acting like a low-rent ninja, sneaking into a high-security building multiple times. The interpretation here is that Forrester Creations is a fortress made of glass. They have all the money in the world, yet they can't keep one persistent intruder out? Charlie being on the hunt feels more like a comedic subplot than a serious security response. But the stakes aren't funny. If Remy is wandering around, he's a threat to the privacy of the designs, the safety of the staff, and the peace of mind of the Forrester family. Why does Remy keep finding ways in? It's because he has an inside track, or at least someone trying to cover his tracks. Melissa Dillon is playing a very dangerous game. She's pushing Remy to get lost, not because she cares about security, but because she's trying to protect her own skin and her relationship with Elektra. Melissa's psychology is one of desperation and survival. She's hiding the fact that Remy is her cousin, which adds a layer of outsider tension to the Forrester halls. She wants to preserve her position, and she knows that if Remy gets busted, her association with him will be her downfall. This is a ticking time bomb. Elektra is hoping Remy is miles away, but the irony is that he's probably right around the corner, potentially being caught on surveillance as we speak. This brings us to the shock Steffy is destined to receive. Could it be that she actually catches Remy herself? Or does Charlie finally wise up and present her with the evidence of a breach? Imagine the fallout. Steffy, already on edge from the corporate battle with Brooke, finds out that her sanctuary has been compromised. This isn't just a business problem. It's a personal violation. She will likely use this as a weapon. If security failed under the current watch, she might use it as an excuse to tighten her grip on the company even further, perhaps even using it as a reason why Brooke and Hope shouldn't have more influence. Prediction time. I think this intruder situation is going to escalate into something much more physical than just sneaking around. If Remy gets cornered, he might do something reckless. And if Elektra finds out that Melissa has been lying to her about Remy's proximity, that relationship is toasted. We are looking at a total collapse of trust across multiple storylines. Steffy's shock is just the beginning of a week that will likely see Charlie's job on the line and Brooke's resentment boiling over into an all-out confrontation. The tension is being ratcheted up sentence by sentence. You have a child back in the mix to make us feel protective, a security guard who is clearly out of his depth to make us feel anxious, and a corporate power struggle to keep the stakes high. This is classic B&B storytelling, but the commentary here is that the Forrester family is becoming too insulated for their own good. They are so focused on couture and legacy that they are missing the very real threats standing right in their hallways. Let's talk about the psychological layer of Ridge's decision. By choosing couture over hope for the future, Ridge is choosing the past over the future. He's choosing the established Forrester brand over the progressive, socially conscious line that Hope represents. This is a move of safety, but it's also a move of exclusion. It tells Brooke and Hope that they are add-ons to the Forrester legacy, not the core of it. This is going to create a massive rift. Brooke isn't just sulking for the sake of drama. She's mourning the loss of her partnership with Ridge. And what about Finn? He's there with Steffy and HAYES, playing the part of the supportive husband. But how will he react when he realizes his wife and child were in a building with an active intruder? Finn has a history of being the protector, and if he feels that Steffy and HAYES were in danger because of Forrester's lax security, we might see him clash with Ridge and Steffy's management style. He might even blame the corporate distractions for the security failure. This episode is setting up a domino effect. One shock for Steffy will lead to a hunt by Charlie, which will lead to a revelation for Elektra, and finally a war between the Logans and the Forresters. It's a masterful way to weave together these disparate threads. The intruder isn't just Remy. The intruder is the chaos that they've all allowed to seep into their lives because they were too busy arguing over titles and dresses. Wait, let's look closer at the surveillance angle. If Remy is caught on camera, Melissa's lies are over. She has been pushing him to leave, but her help is actually a form of complicity. She's trying to preserve her position, but her lack of transparency is exactly what's going to destroy it. This is the tragedy of her character. She thinks she's being smart, but she's actually digging her own grave. And poor Elektra. She's just trying to move on, unaware that her past is literally hiding in the vents of her workplace. The escalation is palpable. Every scene with HAYES and Steffy on Monday will be colored by the knowledge that Charlie is on a hunt. It turns a sweet family moment into a suspenseful waiting game. Every time a door opens, the audience will be wondering if it's a colleague or the intruder. This is high-retention television at its best, and as a viewer you have to wonder, is this the moment Steffy finally loses her cool? She's been so composed, so in control, but a shock and a security threat might be the one-two punch that finally cracks her armor. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the shock. Spoilers suggest it involves a security problem. This could be anything from a physical confrontation to Steffy finding something of hers missing. Whatever it is, it's going to be the catalyst for the rest of the week's drama. If Steffy feels unsafe at Forrester, the entire company culture is going to change. She will likely demand heads on platters, and Charlie should be the first one. But will Ridge allow that? Ridge has a soft spot for the old guard, including Charlie. This could lead to yet another disagreement between Ridge and Steffy. Even though they agree on the business side, they might differ on how to handle the human side of this failure. And you can bet Brooke will be right there, ready to point out that if she were co-CEO, this never would have happened. She'll use the security breach as a way to prove that the current leadership is failing. It's opportunistic, yes, but that's Brooke Logan for you. In terms of the future, the prediction is clear. The revelation of Remy's identity is going to cause a massive scandal. If it comes out that a staff member, Melissa, was hiding an intruder who has a connection to a Forrester Electra, the fallout will be nuclear. This isn't just about a guy sneaking into a building. It's about the integrity of the Forrester name. Steffy will likely use this to distance Electra from the company, seeing her as a liability. The psychological tension between Melissa and Electra is also fascinating. Melissa is acting as a gatekeeper, but she's actually a jailer. By keeping Remy's presence a secret, she's trapping Electra in a situation she doesn't even know she's in. It's a form of control masked as protection. When the truth comes out, the betrayal Electra feels will be twofold. One from Remy for being there, and one from Melissa for not telling her. This Monday episode is really about the death of safety. For Steffy and Finn, the safety of their family is threatened. For Brooke, the safety of her position is gone. For Electra, the safety of her new life is being undermined. And for Charlie, the safety of his job is practically non-existent. It's an episode defined by the intruder, both literal and metaphorical. As we watch Charlie bungle through his hunt, we have to ask ourselves, is this for comedic relief? Or is it a commentary on the old guard of the show? Charlie represents a different era of B&B, and seeing him struggle against a modern-day intruder, like Remy, feels like a clash of styles. Perhaps it's time for Forrester to get a real security team, one that doesn't spend half their time in the break room. The shock Steffy receives is the turning point. It moves the story from business as usual to emergency mode. And in emergency mode, the Forresters are at their most volatile. Expect high-volume arguments, intense stares, and a lot of finger-pointing. My opinion? The person who should really be worried is Hope. If Steffy is in a bad mood because of a security breach, she's going to take it out on Hope's line first. Hope for the future is already on the chopping block. This might be the final blow. Why did Ridge side with Steffy on the HFTF delay? It's because Ridge is a couture guy at heart. He's always been about the high-fashion, high-glamour side of the business. Hope's line, while successful, is ready-to-wear and message-driven. To Ridge, it's a secondary concern. By agreeing with Steffy, he's returning to his roots. But in doing so, he's alienating the women who have supported him for decades. It's a risky move, both for his company and his personal life. The emotional insight for Ridge is that he's tired of being the middleman. He wants a clear vision for the company, and Steffy's vision is the one that aligns with his own aesthetic. He's choosing professional harmony over personal peace. But as any B&B fan knows, you can't have one without the other for long. Brooke's sulking is just the quiet before the storm. And let's not forget the sighting of HAYES. This is such a specific word. A sighting. It makes it sound like he's a rare creature. But in the context of the show, it means we are getting meaningful scenes with the youngest Finnegan. These scenes will serve as a stark contrast to the hunt happening elsewhere. It's the innocent versus the intruder. If anything happens that puts HAYES even remotely near the path of Remy, Steffy will never forgive Charlie, or Ridge for that matter. So what are the big takeaways from this Monday update? First, the Forrester Fortress has been breached, and it's a massive embarrassment for Charlie. Second, Steffy is about to get a shock that will likely pivot her focus from corporate dominance to personal safety. Third, Brooke is officially on the outside looking in, and she's not going to take it lying down. Fourth, the secret of Remy and Melissa is a ticking time bomb that's going to explode sooner rather than later. Psychologically, every character is acting out of a need for territory. Steffy is defending her corporate territory. Brooke is trying to reclaim her emotional territory. Melissa is trying to protect her professional territory. And Remy is invading it all. It's a battle of boundaries, and Monday is the day those boundaries are crossed in a big way. I'm personally excited to see how they handle the shock. If it's just a security problem, it needs to be a big one to justify the buildup. We've seen intruders before, but this one feels different because of the family connections involved. It's not just a stalker. It's a family secret that has literal legs and is walking through the design office. Prediction: Charlie is going to find something on that surveillance footage that he didn't expect. It might not just be Remy. It might be evidence of Melissa's involvement. If Charlie gets his hands on that, the power dynamic in the design office shifts instantly. Melissa goes from being a trusted employee to a pariah. The escalation of the Brooke versus Steffy conflict is also inevitable. Ridge trying to make Brooke feel like she can still make a difference is almost insulting. It's like telling a veteran pilot they can still help out by cleaning the hangar. Brooke's ego is too big for that, and her history with the company is too long. This rejection is going to lead her straight into an alliance, probably with Deacon or someone else who will validate her power. And poor Hayes. He's just there for the chat, totally unaware that his parents are in the middle of a corporate and literal security war. But his presence is what makes the stakes feel real for the audience. We don't want anything to happen to the kid, and that fear is what keeps us watching. It's a classic soap trope, but it works every time. The hunt by Charlie will likely be the B-plot of the episode, but it has the potential to become the A-plot by the end of the hour. If he actually catches Remy, the shock for Steffy might be seeing who the intruder is, or even worse, seeing who is helping the intruder. The interpretation of this Monday update is that the bold and the beautiful world is becoming more fragmented. The unified front of the Forresters is cracking. Ridge and Steffy are on one side, Brooke and Hope are on the other, and the outsiders like Remy and Melissa are working in the cracks between them. It's a recipe for disaster, and I am here for it. What do you think? Is Charlie Weber actually capable of catching this intruder, or is he just going to make things worse? And how should Brooke react to Ridge's rejection? Should she fight for the co-CEO spot? Or is it time for her to start her own rival company? The shock for Steffy is going to be the talk of the town. Make sure you are paying attention to the surveillance footage scenes. That's usually where the real bold secrets are hidden. We are looking at a week of high drama, emotional breakdowns, and corporate backstabbing. Monday is just the fuse being lit. Psychologically, it's all about the illusion of security. The Forresters think they are safe because of their name and their money. But as Remy is proving, those things don't mean much when someone is determined to get in. This realization is going to be a hard one for Steffy, who prides herself on being the guardian of the Forrester legacy. The emotional insight here is that Steffy's shock might lead to a moment of genuine fear, which is something we don't see from her often. She's usually the one in control, the one giving the orders. To see her truly shocked and potentially afraid will be a powerful moment for her character development. It might even draw her and Finn closer together as they face this threat. On the other hand, Brooke's sulking could lead to a very dark path. We've seen what happens when Brooke Logan feels ignored. She becomes the valley girl again, ready to do whatever it takes to get what she wants. Ridge might think he's being firm, but he might just be poking a sleeping lion. The interpretation of the Hayes sighting is that the show is returning to its family roots. Amidst all the corporate talk and security breaches, the heart of the show is still the parents and their children. By bringing Hayes back, the writers are reminding us of the human cost of all these games. If the intruder situation goes wrong, it's not just couture that's at risk, it's the next generation of Forresters. In my opinion, the show is doing a great job of building tension without needing a huge explosion yet. The slow burn of the intruder in the building, combined with the sharp sting of Brooke's rejection, creates a perfect storm of drama. You don't need a building to fall down when you have these kinds of emotional stakes. Start prediction. By Wednesday, Charlie is going to be in the hot seat with Steffy. He's going to have to explain how this happened, and his excuses are going to be thinner than a cheap fabric. This might be the moment we see a new head of security brought in, perhaps someone with a connection to a different family? The shock on Monday is going to ripple through the entire cast. No one is safe when the fortress is breached. Whether it's a physical intruder or a corporate one, the world of Forrester Creations is under attack. Wait, what if the shock isn't just about Remy? What if Steffy receives news about someone else?